Welcome back to Finance for Firefighters. Today we're going to talk more about MERP. We're going to get into the differences between the pooled trust and the individual account. So MERP has two different pathways. One of them, and the main one that they have, is the pooled trust. That's basically the pension side of it. That's a lifetime benefit you get in retirement, kind of that monthly check that you're getting from MERP on the pooled trust side. The other avenue is called an individual account. And think of this like your 457. You can put either leave conversions in there, or if you don't qualify for the 5-year minimum that you have to qualify for the lifetime benefit, that money that you had already contributed over the course of it, say it's been for 3 years or 2 years, that money that was in the pool trust gets moved over into an individual account. And then that individual account, think of it like your 457, that money can be invested based on some decisions that you make on, how conservative or how aggressive you want that account to be, will grow with interest and grow with those investments over a period of time. Functionally, they work the same way. You get either the monthly check that they send out to you kind of thing through the pooled trust, or for the individual account, you can get the monthly amount drawn out physically on your own based on how much you need. Differences and downside about the individual versus the pooled trust side of it is that once the money is gone on the defined contribution piece, or the 457 or the individual account side of things through MERP, that money's gone. Pooled trust side of it is once you get those checks coming in, that those checks are just going to keep coming until you're dead, basically. So difference on those two. So it gets a little confusing for this whole MERP, pooled trust, individual account, all that kind of stuff. Some main takeaways from this are, and maybe some misconceptions are, hey, if I don't meet the minimums, I don't, I'm screwed. If once the money's gone in there and I didn't get it, then I can't get the money out of it. Some of those different, complaints, or maybe you're just confused by the entire thing. So we'll get into exactly what the differences are. So MERP was designed by firefighters. It's professionally managed, but it was designed by firefighters. So there's a lot of little nuances to it because there are different times when departments are going to join it, different locals are going to join it. There's going to be people who are very, very senior, who are really close to retirement, and there are going to be people with a long career ahead of them. So there's got to be a lot of things built into the system that allow the best bang for the buck for everybody. Right? So there are some nuances to MERP. There is the pooled trust side, the lifetime benefit side, which is the easiest part for us to grasp, right? Think of that like your CalPERS side, right? The hugest benefits to MERP in general is that there's no real taxes to you. You're avoiding taxes completely for a bill that you're going to have. For the most of us that don't have lifetime medical through a spouse or something, you're going to have that bill. So having no taxes on that is fantastic. But and the pension side's easy to understand, but there may be some things that maybe make a little more sense to have an individual account, or like a defined contribution side, or a 457 equivalent on the other side of it. So there are some positives and benefits to each one, and there's some drawbacks to each one. So the pooled trust side is your pension side. Think of it that way, right? The normal contributions that you and your employer are making throughout the course of your career go into the pooled trust side. That money is invested, professionally managed, and it's set up in a huge trust, just like CalPERS is, right? So as you retire, you have a monthly benefit that you qualify for. Difference between the pooled trust and a CalPERS is the certain, like, okay, this is your pay, you're putting in a certain percentage of your pay that allows you to get a certain amount back based on all that kind of stuff. Because it's set up through your local and through certain contribution amounts, either through age or through your years of service, there's no tie to your actual pay that you get paid. It's all based on the amount that you and your employer are putting in. And because there can't be any unfairness to where, like, maybe the fire chief would get a better benefit than a firefighter, between the employer, or the employee and the employer, the money that we're putting in there is going to be earning you those ASUs, or earning you that time. So the more money put in there between the two of you, the more money has been invested, and the better benefit that you get on the back end from the retirement part of it through, like, your pension equivalent, right? One qualification for the pension side or the pooled trust side is that you do have to have 5 years of those contributions, 5 years of time of those contributions of doing it, right? So if you have less than 5 years, there are some other options that you have. Again, we'll get into that in more detail in the COBRA episode, but if you don't qualify for the 5 years, the individual account does have some other benefits for you. For the pooled trust side, or the pension equivalent side of MERP, the huge benefits to this is that you're getting a monthly check, and you know what it is. It's determined when you retire. They'll set all that kind of stuff up, and you'll know what the benefit is that you qualify for. Depending on how you have it set up for your department, my department has it set up to where, if my wife and I, let's say I retire, we have a certain amount that we're going to be getting through MERP. If she passes away, or if I pass away, that benefit we still get it, but it gets cut in half. There's a 50% survival, spousal survival benefit for it. So that is a downside to it. It will get reduced if one of you or your spouse pass away. There will be a 50% reduction in it. Now your premiums will go down, so that won't be as big of a hit to you, but there is an impact to that. And then once both of us are gone, then if there's any money left over in there, we both, let's say we died only a few years after I retired, then that money that we had before would just add to the trust, and that money would grow over time and would pay benefits to other firefighter families as things go on. But there's no real pass down to your kids on that kind of stuff. So let's get into the individual account. Now, the individual account is different than the pool trust side. The individual account would be, I keep drawing the parallel between that and like a 457. So the amount of money that you put in there will grow, and it can be invested, and the rest of that, benefits like a 457. If you don't meet the 5-year minimum to give you the pool trust or the lifetime medical benefit part of it through the pension side, that money that you would put in there just gets transferred over to what's called an individual account. If you do large leave conversion stuff, either annually or at your end of your career, that money that you would put in there between normal contributions monthly through your paycheck and stuff, and the amounts that you done through leave conversion will get put over into the individual account if you don't qualify for the 5-year period. So all that money is still yours, and you still have access to it, but it's now being set up to sort of like a 457 defined contribution part of it. So that money can now be invested through different things that you choose, kind of like you would choose on your different 457. We use Empower. There's different target funds and stuff you can invest things through it. So you can invest the money through your individual account and then functionally use it the same way. I can now have my same medical premiums. I just have to show proof of those premiums, and then I can be able to draw money out of that individual account to pay for those things, to reimburse them. The advantage of the individual account, let's say that you have one or both of those things, is that if I end up passing away or my spouse passed away, I can still have access to that full individual account. It's not cut in half like the lifetime benefit is. So a lot of folks may have the 5-year minimum requirement or more than 5 years in it, so they have the pension side of it already set up, but they may actually take some of those leave conversions and put it into the individual account anyway and leave it in there and let that money grow and invest over time. So now that they have basically their pension part of it that covers most of their costs, but they have this other account that will grow with interest over time. So maybe there are surgeries or other things that crop up later as you age that you need access to bigger chunks of money from, you can still pull from that. The other side of it that's an advantage is if me or my spouse passed away, if the lifetime benefit got reduced in half, well, if you have the individual account still set up with money investing, you can use that to draw from it to be able to pay for some of those other expenses that kind of come up. Okay, so let's get into a little bit more about the leave conversion lump sum payments. Now, those lump sum payments through leave conversion, either, again, from my department, again, it's 120 hours per year that you can do. You can cash out vacation leave. Or in retirement, you can do a combination of sick leave, vacation, management leave, if that applies to you. You can cash that money out. Now, that money will go to MERP through the employer, gets sent over to them. They get a check for all that money. And that money is basically going to sit in that individual account for the first period of time. Then they're going to send you a letter within 60 days of that money going over there. You can respond and say, hey, I want the money to either stay in the individual account or go over to the pooled trust side to earn more ASUs. Now, important to note on this is if you don't respond, there's going to be a default option selected for you, okay? So I was talking about a little bit about this in the previous episode. If you're under the age of 40, the default option is going to be putting it into the pooled trust side because it's cheaper than it would be normally for you to buy an ASU. I said this a little bit before, that actuarially adjusted number, the normal ASU price for you during normal employment is $25 per ASU. If MERP has a longer period of time to invest that money, it's going to be cheaper for you, right? So if you're under the age of 40, an ASU is actually going to cost you less than $25. So the default option, if you don't make a selection for that mail that they sent out to you saying, hey, where do you want this money to go? They're going to automatically put it in the pooled trust side. If you're 40 and above, typically the default option for them is going to say, hey, it costs more than $25 per unit because you're older and we have less time to invest that money. So it's going to automatically go and stay in that individual account. Now you can determine which way it goes. You can say, hey, no, I want to pay a little more for the ASUs because I want to bump up that monthly benefit, lifetime benefit. Or you can say, okay, yeah, even if it's going to be cheaper for me if I'm the age of 25 and it's cheaper to do it. But you're one of those, rock stars who has a bunch of real estate or investments and stuff, and you're able to, you're going to be retiring at an earlier period. Say, hey, I want to actually bump up my individual account, that way I have more access to it kind of readily right when I retire. So little differences there, but important to note that that money does get put in there, and it's up to you to determine which direction it goes, either to the pool trust side or in the individual account side for that money to grow. Okay, so let's get into one other topic on this, survivor benefits. Depending on how your local has it set up, for mine, we have it set up with right of survivorship. So for us, if I have a pension check coming from MERP to pay for those medical expenses, let's say it's $1,000 a month for me to cover my medical expenses. If me or my spouse passes away, that amount of money gets reduced in half. It's a 50% benefit reduction. Depending on your local, you may not even have that. It may just be that once you pass away, your wife gets nothing. So find out what it is for you specifically. Either way, it's good to have at least an idea of what that is, or how much the amount is going to be costing you per month, what you're looking at for that, what your benefit is. And then it may be worth considering saying, hey, I'm actually going to take some of these leave conversions at the either annually or at the end of my career and move it into the individual account, because the individual account actually has complete access by your spouse. So if you have $1,000 a month and that's where your expected bill is for your medical insurance, and then you pass away and it's still going to get reduced, but maybe it's $750 a month, and now your wife can't quite cover that. Well, if you have the individual account, she can pull a couple $100 a month out of there to cover the difference between what that lifetime medical benefit was. Another thing would be that if you don't have the right of survivorship through how you have it set up in your contract, if you're getting $1,000 a month and then you pass away, and then now your wife has a bill, even if it's reduced, let's say it's $500 a month for her to cover, she won't have that lifetime benefit for her anymore. But if she has access to that individual account, then she could. So it depends on what your local has specifically set up for you, but there is a difference on what you can get on that survivor benefit. So important to know what that is, important to know what your estimated cost is, and then depending on that stuff, make your choice on if you keep an individual account where you can build that money up and invest it over time. Okay, so let's look at some strategic stuff that you should think about when considering what your benefit's going to be in retirement. All right, so if you're under the age of 40 and you're doing some of those vacation cash out stuff annually, regularly per year, it may be a benefit to you to add some of that stuff and build up those ASUs so you have a better benefit in the end of your career. Now, if you have a long time to go, the way we've structured it through our local, for example, is most of our folks who start at the age of 20, 25 through that early retirement, we have it set up to where in retirement, they're looking at close to $2,000 a month in that lifetime benefit. So for them, it may not be worth it to put in additional ASUs. It may be more worth it for them to say, hey, I'm gonna cash some of this leave out, and I'm actually gonna put it over here into this individual account and let that money build up instead of getting ASUs. Now that, like I said before, that age of 40 is sort of your breaking point on that part of it. It's cheaper to buy them under the age of 40 for ASUs. It's cheaper than that $25 under the age of 40. And the age of 40 and above, it tends to be, scales up as getting more expensive on how much those ASUs cost. So determine what you're looking like you're going to be getting based on when you think you're going to retire and how much your contributions and stuff are going to be. And then determine if that's enough for you for your lifetime benefit. If it's not, then maybe cash some more of that stuff over to your career. In retirement, I would focus even more on this. Maybe if you have a guru through your local you can reach out to help you kind of map out exactly how much you're looking at retirement. But once you have that set up on how much you think your benefit's going to be, if you choose to cash out the management, vacation, sick leave stuff in the end of your career, figure out exactly what you want to do to sort of hit that sweet spot of having enough of that monthly benefit to cover the majority of your costs, and then have a combination of maybe some of that money put over to an individual account so you have access to that, and you have the kind of the backup plan for your spouse if you end up passing away before they do, or vice versa. So whether you retire after 5 years or within 30 years of putting into MERP, that money is yours. Once the money is set over that account, it's there underneath your name. Now, you have individual account options, you have the pool trust account options, like the pension side of it. But generally, that money is yours to do with what you need to pay for all those other medical expenses. Huge benefit. Thanks for joining me on Finance for Firefighters. Thumbs up if you like it, comments below. Hope you guys have a good shift. I'll see you in the next one.